The NVUSD Board of Education is holding a regular virtual board meeting tonight that all can participate in remotely. You can join via Zoom. Specific directions on how to participate are located on the Board of Education webpage on the district's website, nvusd.org/board. The open session part of the meeting agenda begins at 7 p.m. Before going into closed session, the board is available for public comment on closed session agenda items. Mr. Michaels, is there any public comment on closed session items?
There is no public comment on closed session items.
Thank you very much. Seeing as there are none, the Napa Valley Unified School District will now adjourn into closed session. Thank you. We'll see you at 7 p.m. We have reconvened to open session at 7 p.m. My name is Robin Jankowitz, and this is the Napa Valley Unified School District Board of Education. The NVUSD Board of Education is holding a regular board meeting tonight that all can participate remotely via Zoom or in person in the boardroom. Interpretation in Spanish is available for tonight's virtual board meeting. Our interpreters are Isidra Mencos and Julie Young. May we have one of the interpreters translate the directions on our English channel so our Spanish-speaking families can hear the instructions.
Buenas noches. La reunión de hoy de la Junta Educativa del Distrito Escolar de Napa Valley va a tener servicios de interpretación en español. Para acceder a los servicios de interpretación simultánea, en breves momentos ustedes van a ver en la parte de abajo de su pantalla de Zoom un icono del globo terráqueo. Hagan clic en ese icono del globo terráqueo y después pueden hacer clic en el idioma Spanish o español. Si ustedes están en su teléfono móvil, van a ver en la parte superior de su pantalla arriba en Zoom, en la aplicación de Zoom, 3 puntitos y dice More o Más. Hagan clic allí para encontrar los servicios de interpretación y escoger el idioma español. If you are an English speaker and there's a member of the public that speaks in Spanish, you can go into the interpretation channel and choose English, and you will also have simultaneous interpretation from Spanish into English. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we please start with an attendance roll call from Vera Morales, Executive Assistant.
Yes, Student Board Member Bitt.
Present.
Trustee Jankowitz.
Present.
Trustee Gracia.
Present.
Trustee Water.
Present.
Trustee Reiser.
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Present.
Trustee Shu.
Present.
Trustee Dooley.
Here.
Quorum present. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you all for joining us tonight for our Napa Valley Unified School District Board meeting. Public participation tonight and moving forward will be both virtual, online, and in person here in the boardroom. Directions on how to participate via Zoom are available at nvusd.org/board. Trustee Water, do you have anything to report from closed session? Trustee Water, you might be muted.
Yes, I am. Yes, E2A personnel. In closed session, the board took action to approve the following staff recommendations. Effective 2022-23 school year. Amy Martinez to the position of principal at Napa Valley Language Academy. Grady Cummings to the position of assistant principal at Silverado Middle School. And Jessica Hutchinson to the position of principal at Vintage High School. Congratulations to all.
Thank you very much, Trustee Water, for the report out from closed session. Before we continue with the agenda, I'd like to give a welcome, all of them, to our NVUSD leadership team. And a couple of them are present here. And I see Ms. Martinez is also online. So I'd like to give them an opportunity to address the Board of Education if they'd like to. So why don't we start out with Mr. Grady Cummings, who is our new assistant principal at Silverado Middle School. Would you like to address the board?
All right. Good evening, board members, Dr. Musetti and Jen Cole. I appreciate the opportunity to serve Silverado Middle School as the next assistant principal. I've actually been very fortunate in this position to work at Silverado over the past 6 years, more so closely in the past 2. I've always been inspired by the families and the school culture and the leadership that they have there. And I look forward to continuing to work with the staff, the students, and well, especially the students and the families in this new role. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grady. Next, we also have in the boardroom the newly announced principal of Vintage High School, Ms. Jessica Hutchinson. Ms. Hutchinson, would you like to address the board?
Good evening, board members and Dr. Musetti. I want to thank you for this honor. I am thrilled to be the next principal at Vintage High School. It really feels like coming home to the Vintage community and NVUSD. I'm a resident, a parent, a volunteer, and I used to work. It's been 9 years since I worked at Vintage, and I'm really excited to be a crusher again. I look forward to working with a district and a school that is student focused with clear goals, a collaborative culture, and coherence, and supporting and leading the crushers in success in all areas, in academics, athletics, activities, and arts. And I can't wait to see what my students and my staff do next year. And I want to thank you for this honor and this opportunity. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. And I also see that we have our new member also of the NVUSD leadership team, the newly appointed principal of NVLA, Ms. Amy Martinez. Can you bring her over? Ms. Martinez, would you like to address the board? Welcome to NVUSD.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I'm on. Can you see me and hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. I just want to say that I am so grateful and honored for this opportunity. When I started out in education 20 years ago, I actually trained to work in a dual immersion school. I did a special teaching credential program where I taught in the Mexican public schools and did an internship in the universities there. And I've worked in many bilingual settings, but this will actually be the first opportunity I've had to work in a dual immersion school. Everyone I've met has just been so warm and friendly, and I was so impressed with my site visit and how articulate the students were in Spanish and English. And I've heard wonderful things about the collaborative and supportive nature of Napa Valley Unified, and I'm just thrilled to join the team. So thank you so much.
Congratulations. We are going to transition to the flag salute. Trustee Reiser, will you please lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is live streamed and recorded via Zoom and will be archived on the district YouTube channel. For a detailed review of any meeting agenda item, the archived video can be referenced and located on the district webpage at nvusd.org. The public can join the virtual board meeting remotely via Zoom. Participation instructions and the process for public comment can be found on the district webpage. May I get a motion for approval of the agenda, please? I can make it now. I was going to make it. Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to move 3.A to proceed 1.A in the presentation to discussion item of the section of the agenda.
I'll second that.
First by trustee Gracia.
No, it's first.
I did first it. Second by trustee Gracia. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion to move 3.A approved. Now we move to approval of the agenda. May I please get a motion?
Sure, move to approve as amended.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. All in favor?
Aye.
Amended agenda approved. We'll get a approval of the minutes, April 21st. May I please get a motion?
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Gonzalez Morris. All in favor?
Aye.
April 21st minutes approved. Dr. Musetti, recognition of visitors and employee organizations.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not see any of them here tonight.
Not a problem.
Mr. Michaels, am I correct? I do not see Miss Young. I know Miss Walder will not be here, but am I missing Miss Young or you do? I don't see her.
You are
Correct? I think no one is present tonight. They are not here tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Recognition of Students of the Month. As a reminder, recognition of Students of the Month is generously sponsored by the Napa Valley Education Foundation. This evening, we will be hearing from New Technology High School and Napa High School. First, I'd like to welcome Principal Miller.
Hi, good evening, President Jankowicz, Board of Education Trustees, Superintendent Musetti, and community members. I'm very happy to be here tonight to have the opportunity to recognize our New Tech High Students of the Month for March and April. Our student for the month of March is senior Jillian Arcadi. Jillian's teacher shared that she is a kind, thoughtful person who has a deep passion for birds, in fact, and her curiosity and knowledge about birds steered her towards an internship at the Napa Wildlife Rescue Center, and she was described by her internship mentor as a very focused, independent, and thoughtful young person. Next year, Jillian plans to attend Cal Poly Humboldt so that she can continue to pursue her passion for wildlife biology. She's not able to join us tonight, but she did share a statement that she wanted me to read and share with all of you. So she says, "Hello, everyone, and my apologies that I could not be here in person. I just wanted to say that I'm extremely grateful and deeply honored to have been named Student of the Month here at New Tech High. I'm endlessly thankful for the unique opportunities that this wonderful school has provided me with, and truly believe that I wouldn't have become the person I am today if it weren't for my time here. Thanks to the spectacular teachers and staff at New Tech High, I've learned so many lessons that I can now use in my daily life, and I've been able to experience some really wonderful things that have had a long-lasting impact on me. I'm excited to take this title of Student of the Month to heart and carry that attitude into college and beyond. Thank you all so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the academic year, and best wishes, Jillian Arcadi."
Principal
I'm
Miller,
sorry.
please extend our congratulations to her.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. So our Student of the Month for April was able to be here tonight, and it's senior Joshua Rowe. Joshua's teachers describe him as a calculated, determined person who has a fervent interest in music composition. He brings his love of music into his classrooms and his projects, often composing original pieces to underscore themes in literature that he studies. Joshua's passion for music led him to an internship at Marco Co., which involved music and sound art. His internship mentor described him as a persistent and extremely bright young person. He has exciting plans for next year, which I will allow him to share with you, and I'm very happy to be able to introduce you to Joshua Rowe.
Okay. Hello, I'm Joshua Rowe. I'd like to say thank you to everyone again. Thank you for electing me Student of the Month. It's a great honor. And I guess I'd just like to say a few things. So at New Tech, I've had a really good experience taking classes. I really like having the options to take creative design classes and be exposed to new types of classes that I probably wouldn't have been able to have at potentially other schools. I've been exposed to a lot of teachers and mentors who have been able to push me down a more creative path, which allowed me to pursue more of a field of music. I really appreciate the projects that we've been taking on in the past few years, because they leave a little bit open up to interpretation, which allows me to both get a more in-depth study of the topic at hand, but also improve my own skills at things that I'm interested in, such as music composition. And I would like to thank Ms. Miller, because she has done so much for the school and kept things going smoothly even during the lockdown. And I think that New Tech has adapted well as they could to the difficult scenario, and has been really telling. It's been really telling of how much the staff cares about the education and mental well-being of the students. I guess my plans for next year are I'm going to be attending UCLA, and I'm going to be pursuing a music major there. All right, thank you.
Congratulations. Well, thank you, Principal Miller. Dr. Ainsworth, are you with us?
I am.
Welcome.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Massetti, President Jankowicz, Board of Education trustees, and the community of Napa. I'm excited to introduce our March Student of the Month, and that is Henry. Henry carries a GPA of a 4.16, and I got some thoughts from his teachers, and in summary, they're basically saying, Henry thinks deeply and is truly vested in learning new things. He is courageous because he challenges himself to constantly step out of his comfort zone by offering clever insights, holding academic conversations, and dialogue with his classmates, even when it makes him nervous or worried, to drawing attention to himself. He likes to read and discuss literature. He is incredibly organized and likes to always work ahead on assignments and deadlines. He's admired by his teachers and other students for his vast knowledge of current events, history, and literature. Henry's respectful and kind. He has amazingly wonderful manners and understands that the important lesson of a little kindness and consideration for others goes a long way. We are thrilled to introduce Henry Shikowitz as our March Student of the Month. So Henry, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. I'm honored to be Student of the Month for March. It's really an achievement I was never expecting to earn throughout my years of Napa High School. So to start off, some of the schools I attended were Irene M. Snow Elementary School, River Middle School, and I am currently a junior at Napa High School. A factor of my academic success can be traced back to my time at River School, where I was introduced to the higher level of academics through a unique perspective, really. As for other students, the River Harvest campus came to the advantage to many residents who lived in the McCamus Village area. However, that can't be really enjoyed much more due to the plans to eradicate the River McCamus program and demolish the Harvest campus. Moving on, some of these subjects I've really quite enjoyed during my time at Napa High School are Machine Shop 1 or Machine Shop Level 1, which is taught by Mr. Ron Solomon. So I've given a shout out to him. It's really tied me closer to school, having such an interest in this academic or this sort of career technical program. It's really broadened my spectrum of interests in regards to future careers. Another class I really enjoyed was Art 1, taught by Ms. Crickmore. That also introduced me to the world of art and basics or basic fundamentals of art. So shout out to her. A class that I found quite interesting was my Math 2 class from last year, which was taught by Miss Emily Nogue. So shout out to her for helping me slug on through that. My plans after high school, at this point, I'm really not quite sure. I do know, however, that I will be attending the Napa Valley College a year from now, or once I graduate. After that, I may take a gap year just to find a job, earn a little money. So, yeah. who knows? The future tends to unfold. Some achievements I'm most proud of during my time at Napa High School are, I would have to say, my ability to get through Math 2, with it being such a hard subject for other students. But yeah, somehow with the help of Miss Noge, I was able to pass that class with a straight A. No problem. Right. And with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Henry, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. For our April Napa High NVUSD Student of the Month, we have Frida Diaz Escobar. Frida carries a 4.4 GPA, and she's very, very involved. Frida is a dedicated learner who is committed to her education and helping others. She's an excellent avid tutor and is also an ESA student. And she goes all the way back to NVLA as one of our kiddos, making her way through our dual immersion system. She is this year's president for our Schools Only Honor Society, California Scholarship Federation, and it's actually her second year of being a board member. She's heavily involved in community service, including helping tutor students from her mother's elementary school, but is constantly looking for ways to help others. We're very proud of Frida and her accomplishments and how she looks forward to serving students both at Napa High and in the community at large. So I present Frida Diaz Escobar, our April Student of the Month.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frida Diaz Escobar, and I'm a junior at Napa High School. I'd like to start off by thanking my English teacher, Mr. Chatham, and Dr. Ainsworth for nominating me as one of Napa High School's NVUSD Students of the Month, as well as the NVUSD School Board for this incredible award and recognition. I also can't go on without thanking my parents, especially my mom, for continually motivating me and encouraging me to not only let my own doubts and worries impede my abilities to succeed. One of my biggest accomplishments has been becoming a more proficient dual language speaker. It began as a preschooler in a dual immersion program at Napa Valley Language Academy. The 7 years at NVLA laid the foundation for me to become a better communicator in both English and Spanish, while also instilling a pride and respect for my own Hispanic heritage by enabling me to deepen my relationships within my own Spanish-speaking family. Upon graduating from Napa High, I will receive the seal of biliteracy on my diploma and be eligible to study abroad. Being bilingual has opened many doors of opportunity. Continuing on the bilingual path, I attended Harvest Middle School in 7th grade. The journalism class taught by Mr. Joe Paniagua gave me the basic reporting and writing skills through a journalist's perspective. I was able to attend the Napa Valley Film Festival in 2018 as a student reporter interviewing Hollywood celebrities and gain firsthand experience of the environment and pace of journalism. These 2 years at Harvest in this amazing class gave me the confidence and hopes of possibly pursuing a career in journalism as a writer. I highly recommend that NVUSD consider implementing a journalism course at both the Unidos Middle School and Napa High School, as it is proven to strengthen the communication and critical thinking skills of many students like myself. Part of being involved in community service has been my participation in the Napa High School California Scholarship Federation under the support and guidance of Mrs. Andrilla. Serving as a member, public relations officer, and this year's president provides me the chance to make small differences in students' lives. I've learned to network and do more outreach to gain money for our graduating seniors. One of my longest acts of service has been assisting my mom in her 1st grade classroom since I've been in elementary school. I have helped with classroom organization as well as preparation. Using her resources, I began tutoring a group of students in Spanish after school, helping them develop their comprehension and pronunciation skills. From this, I've enjoyed helping other students through academic tutoring in any way that will enhance their understanding as well as my own. My proudest achievement at Napa High School was taking an honors math 2 class my freshman year. I've never been the strongest in math, and although this class was intended for sophomores, I was determined to succeed despite the doubts and obstacles. My amazing teacher, Miss Noge, gave me immediate confidence in my abilities and made the class enjoyable and understandable despite its rigorous pace. I may not have been the strongest at math walking into her class, but in the end, she proved that my hard work and dedication to understanding math was part of a characteristic she viewed in me and other students. Ms. Nogue awarded me with the Academic Excellence in Mathematics. This recognition serves as a reminder to find the self-confidence within myself to take on any challenge. As I near the end of my high school career, I hope to attend a four-year college in California studying communications or journalism, as well as studying cultural anthropology. All of the NVUSD schools I've attended have each taught me the 21st century skills that will take me far in my profession, as well as shape me to be a better member of my community. Thank you all for listening.
Congratulations, Frida. Okay, public comment on non-agenda items. Trustee Water, do we have any public comment on non-agenda items received via email at NVUSD, public comment at nvusd.org?
No public comments on non-agenda items were submitted via email before 8 a.m. this morning.
Thank you very much, Trustee Water. We do have one card this evening. I'd like to welcome esteemed Principal Troy Knox to the podium, please.
Thank you, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, Student Board Member Bitt, Dr. Musetti, and Mr. Pearson. Thank you for giving me a few minutes this evening to talk about every student succeeding. The Association of California School Administrators holds a statewide award for students who have persevered and who have succeeded and excelled in school despite surmountable odds, life challenges, health challenges. It's a myriad of things that happen, as we all know. And however, despite the odds, these students have persevered and have succeeded. They're inspiration. And we are honored. Our local chapter will be honoring 36 students on Tuesday, May 31st at the Camille Creek Community School. It will be an evening outdoor presentation. So we will have two programs. The elementary program is at 6 p.m., followed by the middle and high school presentation at 7:30. I'll be sure to get a calendar invite out to all of you, but I just wanted to make that announcement. And I know our committee has been working very hard to put this event together. It's been a challenge these past couple of years. Last year, we were in the parking lot of the Napa Valley College. This year, we're excited to be at Camille Creek. It's a new facility, and I'm so excited to have that opportunity as well. So I just wanted to make you aware of that event, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michaels, do we have any additional public comment?
Yes, we do. First speaker is the Willow PAFA. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. My name is Chloe Noggle, and I am the co-president of the Willow Parent and Faculty Association. And I am here to read our formal petition to honor our retiring principal, Pamela Perkins. Dear NVUSD Board of Education, we are here to present our formal petition to honor our retiring principal, Pamela Perkins, on the Willow Elementary School campus for all of her many years of dedication to our children, families, and the NVUSD community. We have spoken with our faculty and families, and it would mean a great deal to all of our community to see something visual on campus, serving as a daily reminder of all that Pam has contributed to make Willow's Arts Integration Magnet program possible. Our hope is to design a plaque honoring Pam's commitment to the education community that will be displayed on the exterior of the Performing Arts Building, which is a district building that she was so integral in the planning and building of. There is no cost to the district for this project, as our Parent and Faculty Association have set aside funds raised by our families to pay for this gift. Please let us know the next steps and any items required from our Willow Parent and Faculty Association. Thank you for your time. We are very excited about this opportunity to surprise Pam with this special symbol of gratitude. With much appreciation, Crystal Oliveris, Co-President Willow PAFA, and Chloe Noggle, Co-President Willow PAFA.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Noggle, thank you so much for making that formal request on the record this evening. I will have Assistant Superintendent Mike Pearson follow up with you and the leadership of the Willow Parent Club in order to discuss next steps. So thank you for your request in honor of Principal Pam Perkins.
Mr. Michaels, do we have any additional public comment?
We do not. There is no further comment.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Okay, so I'd like to start off by saying Happy Mental Health Awareness Month and also Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. My past few weeks have been spent preparing and, of course, taking AP exams. And I know that a lot of my high school peers are going through the same thing, especially in this county or in this district. So I just wanted to wish everybody good luck and remind everyone that 1, 2, or even a handful of exams do not define you as a student, and they certainly do not define you as a person. I know that this can be a stressful time. It certainly is for me, so I thought that everyone deserved that reminder. But we're in this final stretch, so that I hope everyone takes care of themselves and can be proud of how far that they've come this time of the year. So that concludes my report for today.
Emily, thank you very much. Kind words and important words. Trustee Dooley.
Yes, so I was excited to attend the Vintage 50th anniversary celebration on April 23rd. Trustee Gracia and I walked through they had a pathway through looking at some old yearbooks. So I got to see Trustee Gracia as a high schooler. I got to find my college roommate who went to Vintage, my roommate in Boston who graduated from Vintage. So that was interesting. And then Trustee Gracia and I played some basketball, not competitively, just shooting around, but I had a higher shooting percentage than I normally have. So it was, I think it's the court. I think it's inclined to be helpful. Anyways, on April 27th, I attended the Curriculum and Student Support Committee meeting, and on the 28th, I attended the Policy Committee meeting. We have a few items from both of those that are on the agenda later. And then on May 3rd, I attended the Coffee with the Superintendent event at Shearer Elementary School. It was well attended. It was conducted in Spanish with interpretation in English, which was appreciated as a non-Spanish speaking person that it was interpreted. So I definitely can understand the appreciation that many have when their native language isn't the primary language spoken at a meeting. So, and yeah, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Dooley. Trustee Chu.
I also want to wish everyone a happy AAPI month. Since our last board meeting, I conducted a few site visits to West Park, Alta Heights, and Vichy. And thank you to Principals Estudillo, Ward, and Zickman for hosting me and Trustee Reiser at these visits. I also attended the Napa Junction grand opening yesterday. It was wonderful to see all of the families there celebrating this brand new school in just a very idyllic setting. Some of the other meetings I attended, including the parent learning series on A to G requirements, going to be a new high school parent next year. I also attended the Napa Valley College High School lunch, where I learned a little bit about dual enrollment and other offerings for our students there. And also the CSBA Region 3 meeting that happened just a couple days ago. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Chu.
I'm continuing my touring of the schools. This time it was at Vintage High School. There was a rally going on, so not a lot of visits to the classroom, which is totally fine. So it was really fun to walk into the space of a high school rally, which I hadn't done that in 22 years or so. So just reminded of like, oh yeah, this is what happens. And Principal O'Connor was just like, what time is it? It's supposed to be, you know, she's like, how is this? And she's like, explain. And she's like, I'm like, you do your thing, leave me here. I'll just, you know, just like enjoy the moment. Because there was just so much going on. Of course, bell rung, and then, you know, students are like, how am I supposed to go to blah, blah, blah. And, you know, just the whole energy in the room. So it was awesome to just be in that presence. And then I also had a really great tour. I hadn't done that in a while at Vichy Elementary School by Principal Sigmund. And so really, one, the structure of some of the buildings of like the classrooms, you're like, how is this set up? But they make it work. And in the classrooms were just full of the kiddos and just everybody really enjoying themselves and behaving. And some of the students were doing the lunch count and taking very seriously that job. And so just really appreciated her tour. It was really in depth and enjoyed that very much. So looking forward to my next ones.
Thank you very much, Trustee Reiser. I'm going to put my glasses on. So I also did the site visits that with Trustee Chu that she mentioned to West Park Elementary. Many thanks to Principal Estudillo and to Vichy Elementary. Thank you to Principal Zickman, and then also Alta Heights. Is that the one? Yes. Okay. The Alta Heights Principal Ted Ward. That's right. So those site visits are just such important. They're very uplifting. Elementary schools in particular are kind of my happy place. They're very comfortable for me. But it's so important, I think, for us to ground our work that we do on the board with really, you know, up-to-date understanding of what's happening where the rubber hits the road. So I want to do a special shout out to West Park Elementary, which was one of the sites we visited where both of my daughters attended their full elementary career. We got to visit one of our Napa County Teacher of the Year nominees, Cindy Kobilka's classroom. She was my daughter's second grade teacher. And then Ms. Andrea Kingsford's third grade classroom. It was amazing. That was a 3-4, and it was just a great reminder to see all of the additional layer of juggling that teachers do when they have a multi-age classroom. So it just, again, is I have so much respect and pride for the hardworking teachers in our district. And then another shout out to Laura Zinzer, who taught my two children for 3 years. One of them had her for a 4th and 5th grade, and she is also a really spectacular teacher. So it was really great to be in those classrooms at all 3 of those sites. I attended the City of American Canyon 2x2 meeting that will report out in a bit. The Curriculum Committee Board Advisory, Curriculum and Student Support Board Advisory Committee meeting, that's hard to get out, and also the Policy Committee, as Trustee Dooley mentioned. And we had the coffee with the superintendent at Shear Elementary. That again, I second everything Trustee Dooley said about that. It was a wonderful gathering, great parent turnout, and just such so wonderful to see our bilingual superintendent in action. Really, you know, what an amazing gift it is for our district to have a bilingual superintendent that can comfortably switch between Spanish and English and address our Spanish-speaking parents. And again, I agree that to be on the other end of listening into a headphone and hearing that delay and experiencing that, you know, of hearing the content through an interpreter is a really good reminder of what we're asking our Spanish-speaking families to do most of the time that they engage with us. So that was wonderful. Also attended the grand opening of the Napa Junction Elementary School last night. That was a huge success, and just you know, what a shining jewel in our NVUSD portfolio of schools. We have this sparkling brand new campus right by the wetlands. And then lastly, I also participated in the California School Board Association Region 3 online meeting the other evening. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Trustee Riser. Trustee Gracia.
Yes, so on the 23rd, I also attended the 50th anniversary at Vintage High School. And then on the 2nd, I had a meeting with the town of Yountville. On the 3rd, I attended coffee with the superintendent at Shear Elementary. And also on the 3rd, the CSBA Region 3 regional meeting. And then the 4th, the Napa Junction grand opening. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize the results of some of our advocacy efforts. As the budget season continues, the Senate has released the second phase of its budget proposal, which directly reflects CSBA's consistent advocacy this budget season. The Senate proposal includes a major CSBA priority: investment in the local control funding formula, or LCFF, beyond the statutorily required cost of living adjustment, or COLA. I participate in this advocacy by directly lobbying Senator Dodd and Assemblywoman Aguilar Curry, who are our local legislators around this issue. It was rewarding to see that that was time well spent. Another major focus of our advocacy in Sacramento was around transportation and getting the state to fully fund transportation for students with cost of living adjustments to the transportation budget going forward, as the budget had not been increased since 1980. It looks like the state is going to take a major step toward transportation funding, which should make a big difference for school districts up and down the state. There is a possibility that funding will move from approximately 30% of costs to something approximating full funding. This was another topic I lobbied our legislators about back in March, and it is good to see that the advocacy appears to have been taken to heart and is reflected in the current legislative agenda.
Thank you very much, Trustee Gracia. Trustee Waters, would you like to add anything?
Yes, as you can see, I am in quarantine, but I did, and it makes me very sad to hear my colleagues talk about all these great places they went that I had meant to attend myself, and all these fun events. But I did go to the CSBA regional meeting, and yes, it was heavy on financial news, which Trustee Gracia has told us about. And Principal Troy Knox was there and pitched the event on May 31st at Camille Creek for students who've overcome challenges. And I think we should all attend. And last night, or yesterday afternoon, I attended virtually the Napa County Office of Education meeting, which was really interesting, and I'm glad I went.
Thank you very much, Trustee Water. As we kind of inch toward the end of this week, National Teachers Week, I just, as having a mother-in-law and father-in-law that were both educators at NVUSD and a mom that was a teacher for 35 years, I just want to thank all of you that decided to be an educator, for the pride that you take in your job, for your dedication to excellence, perseverance, and the ability to rise to every challenge every day on behalf of your students. I've had the privilege to observe in many classrooms, to watch our teachers as they connect with their students, understand learning styles, personalities, and abilities. You teach, you counsel, you help students integrate their social, emotional, and intellectual growth. You challenge your students to take an active role in learning, and by doing so, devise educational opportunities that balance mind and heart, creating the opportunity to love what you learn. So to all of our NVUSD teachers and to teachers everywhere, we express our thanks, our respect, and our gratitude. I also attended the Hall of Fame Vintage High School event with Mr. Pearson. I had a CSBA governance call this week. I listened to Mike Thompson's Facebook Live town hall with our chief economist for the U.S. Department of Commerce, attended the town of Yountville committee meeting, attended the coffee with Dr. Massetti at Shear Elementary, attended the CSBA Region 3 meeting with my colleagues that Trustee Gracia acknowledged, and I too attended the lovely Napa Junction grand opening. And that concludes our reports. We will move on to Board Representative Report, the first being Special Education Community Advisory Committee.
We have not met.
Thank you very much. City of American Canyon.
Yes, we met and continue to make meaningful progress in our discussions about shared property interests in American Canyon.
Thank you very much. City of Napa.
We have not met.
Thank you, Trustee Dooley. Trustee Gracia, would you like to address Town of Yountville?
Yeah, we actually met. We had a meeting with the town and discussed how we will move forward around the possible disposition of the former Yountville Elementary School property.
Thank you. Dr. Musetti, would you like to discuss what's going on with staff?
Yeah, so I'll kick off the staff reports this evening. So good evening, trustees and community, NVUSD trustees and community. Today, I would just like to report that it's been a joyful couple of weeks of in-person events that have provided ample opportunity for our district to come together in community. Last Friday, Dr. Nemko, Napa County Office of Education Superintendent, and myself, we hosted the Leadership Napa Valley Education Day. We had approximately 25 fellows from various sectors in the community develop an appreciation for what educators and support staff do every day in order to educate our students. We toured classrooms at Napa Junction, ACMS, ACHS, saw great teaching and learning across those three sites, while ending the day at Napa Valley College. I want to thank Jill Teckel for including an education day in the program so community members can learn about the TK-12 and community college educational landscape here in the Valley. I also wanted to thank the parents. Many of the trustees who attended mentioned the Coffee with the Superintendent at Shear. This is my third Coffee with the Superintendent event this spring. It's been great to discuss various topics that impact our NVUSD students in a more intimate setting with parents. And I did appreciate the opportunity to hold it in Spanish with the predominantly Spanish-speaking community at Shear Elementary. The feedback I got, thank you for all the positive feedback. I also got the feedback that my cubana came out. I guess I'm a little bit more animated in Spanish. So, next up, you won't see me as animated because I think the language will be English. But next up is the Coffee with the Superintendent at Browns Valley on Tuesday, May 10th, and Silverado Middle School on Tuesday, 5/18, and that will conclude my series of Coffees with the Soup this spring. I also was grateful to be able to attend the Vintage High School scholarship ceremony earlier this week. I want to thank Principal O'Connor for the invitation, where I went back to the tradition of giving out the awards to their top 1% students. So that was great. I really, again, it was great to see all the parents in the theater and honoring all the crushers who are receiving scholarships from many, many generous community members. It's incredible how the community supports our students as they pursue post-secondary opportunities. And of course, as many of the trustees mentioned, I was also so grateful to be at yesterday evening's grand opening of the new Napa Junction Elementary School. It was amazing. I shared there, this is my fourth ribbon cutting and grand opening of a brand new campus. So thank you, Measure H. When people ask what did Measure H accomplish, we've built 4 new schools, which is pretty incredible, and only 4 years in my first superintendency, and I get to open 4 new campuses. That's a very unique opportunity, especially in the state of California, to be able to give a school community a brand new facility. So thank you so much to the community and the Measure H voters for supporting our students and being able to give them these incredible school settings. It was fabulous to see it was fabulous to see so much of the American Canyon community come out to celebrate. It was so well attended. So again, thank you to the voters for providing us revenues necessary to build state-of-the-art facilities like this one. It's great to see our bond dollars at work. And thank you to Mr. Pearson for his incredible leadership, stellar organizational skills, and planning such a large scale event. I want to thank him and his team for the great work. I've also been at schools focused at some elementary visits since our last board meeting. I was at Willow Elementary to surprise Napa County Teacher of the Year, Rebecca Lacow, who will be honored at the County Office of Education's upcoming event. We're so proud that she was selected as the Teacher of the Year for the county. So it was great to be at Willow for that. Also had the opportunity to visit Vichy and see Principal Zickman run an incredible recycling education routine that she does at lunch with her kiddos. I don't know if any of you went visited, you saw her in action, but it's a true passion there, and she's really trained the kids really well. And then I had the pleasure earlier this week of going to Snow to see the Latino Youth Cinema Project classrooms in action. The students have the rough cuts of their films, and they're in the process with the organization of potentially selecting some that might get to go to the red carpet in Los Angeles. So that's really great. So that program, that pilot program, is coming to a year-end close as we approach the end of the school year. And the rough cuts of the films, I was cracking up. We have some future filmmakers in NVUSD, let me tell you. We saw horror, we saw comedy. It was fabulous. And then lastly, I am excited to invite our families in the broader community to our State of the District event, which will provide a little more insight into the district, our accomplishments and future plans as we move our district forward. The State of the District is on Wednesday, May 18th. There is a list of folks who've been invited for the in-person event, parent leaders from across all of our schools. And the event will also be live streamed beginning at 9:30 a.m. again on Wednesday, May 18th. You can go to nvusd.org, and on the homepage, we have all of the information if you're interested in attending virtually. I hope all of you will have the opportunity to listen, engage, and learn something new about NVUSD. All of the challenges that we faced over the course of the last couple of years. I just really think that this is an opportunity for us to kind of come together and reflect and really speak to our motto, which I think still holds true, which is excellence and equity grow here in the Napa Valley Unified School District. So that concludes my report. I'm now going to proceed with my assistant superintendents, who will report out on their respective areas. So we'll start out with Assistant Superintendent Pat Andrew Jennings, who oversees instructional services.
Good evening, President Jankowicz, Board Trustees, Student Board Representative Bitt, Dr. Massetti, and the NVUSD community. As Student Board Representative Bitt mentioned, student mental health continues to be at the forefront of everyone's mind, especially our students. So much so that Napa High's Layla student leaders hosted a mental health fair on Thursday, April 28th for students at Napa High. I have the opportunity to go and visit, and I want to thank the on-site service providers and community partners for their support for this entirely student organized event. Throughout the day, classes attended the fair to learn about mental health supports available to students in Napa, both on campus and in the community. This event supports students thriving socially, emotionally, and academically, a key part of LCAP goal number 4, and serves as another reminder of how important and impactful student voices and young leaders are to the movement to reduce the stigma and increase support around mental health. Thank you to On the Move for providing a strong collaborative partnership to youth through the Layla program. As part of LCAP goal number 1, focused on college and career readiness, American Canyon High School hosted a school-wide career day on Wednesday, April 27th. All students in grades 9 through 12 participated in webinars featuring multiple industry partners. The recordings will be shared with all Napa Valley High Schools and used throughout the school year and in classes. I want to thank the industry partners and the ACHS Wolfpack. And lastly, as we gear up to celebrate all staff next week, I want to take a moment to recognize the Instructional Support Services Division. They have worked tirelessly to provide a high-level support to school sites during the ever-changing challenges that have been presented this past year. I appreciate and value their work, the work they have done in service to our school sites, students, and families. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Andrew Jennings. Next, we'll have Assistant Superintendent Dana Page, who oversees the Human Resources Division.
Good evening, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, Dr. Massetti, Student Board Representative Bitt, and the Napa community. Next week, NVUSD is celebrating Employee Appreciation Week. This is an opportunity to not only honor the work of the outstanding individuals who contribute to the education of our students, but also to recognize that it takes a collaborative group effort of all employees, whether certificated or classified, working directly with students, or supporting behind the scenes to make the magic happen. In NVUSD, we fundamentally believe that even the most talented individuals alone cannot be as effective as a group of talented people working together. So we are intentionally not only celebrating individual excellence, but also collaboration, and that do what it takes in service to students' attitude that characterizes our amazing staff. Hence the celebration of one very special week for all employees. HR is planning a variety of fun activities and surprises all week long, which we will kick off on Monday, including giveaways, treats, tons of adoration, and gratitude. I want to thank the parent clubs and local businesses who have donated items to help us celebrate and demonstrate that our community stands with our employees and appreciates the work they do. And I do want to thank in advance, well, not in advance of the week's success, but also knowing how much work they've put in over the last few months, Norris Tregoning, Gina DeLuca, Elizabeth Gonzalez, all in my office, who have helped plan and organize the logistics of this upcoming week. And finally, please check out our latest staff spotlight on Matt Kelly, who teaches at Silverado Middle School, helping fuel students' interest in science. And here's a quote from Matt about what motivates him. Each student is working on their own journey. I have the privilege in supporting them to be their best. Thank you, Mr. Kelly, for that reminder to all of us that it is an honor to work on behalf of our students every day. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Next, Mr. Manguala, our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, is not available this evening, but Ms. Jenna Burrows, our Executive Director of Fiscal Services, will be providing the report on behalf of the Business Services Division. Ms. Burrows?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to update the board and the community. So May 14th is right around the corner, and it's a very important day for the state as well as NVUSD. It's the day the governor is going to release his written budget proposal for the 2022-23 fiscal year, with the final adoption of the budget due by June 15th. We do anticipate there will be significant changes for education. Some of these changes include a cost of living adjustment of about 6.5%, a 3-year average daily attendance adjustment, and funding for home to school transportation as well as facilities. We're hopeful about these implications of these proposals. However, we're still cautious as unfortunately pension relief for STRS and PERS increases and an adjustment for decreased ADA for this school year has not been proposed at this time. And so these items will really offset the cost of living adjustment that is being proposed. That's it. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows, for being here this evening. Next, Assistant Superintendent Mike Pearson, who oversees the Operational Services Division.
From first to last, I see how it is. President Jankowicz, NVUSD Board of Education, trustees, Dr. Mustetti, and Student Board Representative Emily Bitt, and members of the NVUSD community. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you each with a brief update from Operational Services. In food service, this is National School Lunch Hero Week, and tomorrow, Friday, May 6th, is NVUSD NOSH is celebrating School Lunch Hero Day with all of our amazing NVUSD food service employees. So as a reminder, please consider acknowledging one of our or more of our fantastic hardworking food service employees. As was mentioned previously, I want to thank everyone who came out last night to participate in the grand opening of Napa Junction Elementary School. The event was very well attended, and I want to commend the entire operational team for the planning, setting up, staging, and overseeing the entire event. In addition, I'd like to acknowledge Napa Junction Principal Noreen Montgomery, her staff, and the wonderful Napa Junction students who participated in the dedication and grand opening. And again, thank you to everyone who joined the festivities. Later this evening, the Measure H Citizens Bond Oversight Committee will present their annual report for 2021 school year. Kevin Brooks, the chair of the committee, will be sharing a short presentation to support the submission on their annual report. Thank you. And this now concludes my report. Yep, and now I'd like to introduce Kelly Jorgensen. She's the Vice President of Van Pelt Construction Services. She oversees, and Van Pelt Construction Services oversees the construction management and program management of the Measure H Bond Program, and she's going to provide a brief facilities report to you. Kelly.
Thank you very much. And 1 second while I get my screen to share here. And there we go. Thank you. All right, well, today we are here to give a brief update and some background information on our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. We felt that it was a bit timely to share some information about the hard work that this committee does, considering that the board will be hearing a presentation from our chairperson later today. Oops, sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties there. There we go. So some of the charges of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee requires them through educational code to share information with the public about how the bond dollars are being spent, to oversee those expenditures and make certain that the taxpayers' investment is spent on bond projects consistent with the bond language. It is made up of volunteers that represent different areas of the community. And each fiscal year, the committee is charged with presenting the board and the public with a report on their activities and findings. The Bond Oversight Committee is made up of various segments of the community. Our members make up parents and guardians in the district, parents active in booster organizations, taxpayers organizations, senior citizens organizations, as well as members at large. So if you're a part of any member of the Napa Valley community, you are welcome to join the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. As the trustees are aware, just last meeting, we approved 4 new members, which will help cover the vacancies that will come up in November when quite a few of our members term out. We are also continuing to actively recruit for membership. So along with the community in Napa and Yountville, we are also actively recruiting in the American Canyon community as well. And all members of our community, whether they are part of the committee or just want to participate, are invited to join our meetings. So if anybody is looking for more information about the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, they can visit the Napa Valley Unified School District's website. Go ahead and go to Measure H, and that will take you to links for more information about the committee's activities, including a video archive, a document archive, our scheduled meetings, instructions on how to attend. Obviously, it is Zoom right now, committee applications, and links to more information just about bonds in general and Measure H in specific. So it has a great deal of information that we encourage community members to visit if they want to learn more about the committee's activities. So we are always looking to make sure that we stay grounded in our meetings to the charges for the committee. So this bit of language that you're seeing right here is at the top of every agenda for the meeting. And that is just a reminder to everybody that participates what the Bond Oversight Committee is there to do: inform the public, review expenditures, and issue an annual report. So what does that mean in a little bit more detail? Informing the public means that we are maintaining an up-to-date website, which, as you can see, is definitely the case. That we inform the committee on both planned and current projects, and that we are regularly advertising for membership. When reviewing expenditures, we often look at the reports issued by Key Analytics, which is the software program that the Office of School Planning and Construction uses to track expenditures for the bond. We often do project-specific expenditure reviews where we will take a completed project and look at all of the POs issued, all the vendors involved, and invite the committee members to ask questions. We provide budget updates and information on the spend down of the bond. As you will see later today in a more detailed presentation, the members also issue an annual report. That includes audits, any information the committee members would like to share, and a review of the past fiscal year's expenditures. So if you or any other community member would like to participate in a meeting, they occur every 8 weeks. We typically plan the agenda with the chair and co-chair in advance to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the committee. The issuance of the agenda and the associated documents happen 72 hours prior, just like the trustee meetings. We are subject to the Brown Act. Currently, we are virtual and looking forward to going back into in-person and visiting some sites very soon. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jurgensen. Mr. Pearson, do you have anything else?
I do not, President Jankowicz. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the consent agenda. Common motion takes action without discussion on a roll call vote. Get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia.
Second.
Second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on the consent agenda?
We do not. There is no public comment.
Thank you very much. Vera, may we please get a roll call vote? Julie, pardon me.
Yes, student board member Bill,
Aye.
trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu,
Aye.
trustee Dooley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. Presentation and discussion items. We did amend the agenda so that the presentation of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee could go first. So I welcome Mr. Brooks.
Yes, thank you, President Jankowicz. I'd like to introduce Mr. Kevin Brooks. He has been our chairperson for our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for several years now. He's happy to make this presentation on the day that we said he was going to be making this presentation, since the last couple have happened on the next day. So you can thank us later, Mr. Brooks, on that. But yes, we're very excited to have it to receive the report from the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, and he does have a short presentation to support that. So, Mr. Brooks.
I think Mr. Pearson, the term was stellar organizational skills. Isn't that correct? Anyway, President Jankowicz, Dr. Mazzetti, Superintendent Mazzetti, Student Representative Britt, and fellow trustees. On behalf of my fellow Bond Oversight Committee, we are presenting the annual report for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. Kelly, please. And we have, these are the, on the left-hand side here, these are the members of the Measure H Citizen Oversight Committee. We have a highly engaged, tenured group. And just as a point of reference, very wide cross-section of involvement from the community, including over the lifetime to date of the Measure H Oversight Committee, 2 PhDs, 2 registered professional engineers, 2 people involved in general contracting, 1 inspector of record, and 1 finance person, as well as 1 owner's rep involved in the EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction industry. Kelly? So just a little history and background. Measure H was passed in 2016. 269 million in general obligation bonds, 241 of which is for general projects, general capital CapEx type projects, 28 million of which is associated with technology projects. And the Measure H verbiage or language on the bond measure was to address seismic safety, fire life safety, infrastructure upgrades and repairs, what we call MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and associated projects, and then technology upgrades. All of the bonds have been sold, And as of the fiscal year reporting, which was through 2021 of last year, roughly $259 million and change have been encumbered or committed to Measure H type projects. As of that reporting period, the original 269 million in Measure H funds was actually worth roughly 274 million. The $5 million difference being interest earned on the sale of the bonds. Every year, the original facilities master plan that accompanied the original passage of the Measure H bond in 2016 is updated with what we call the implementation plan update. And there's a typo here, but the last one was approved by you all in February of 21. Kelly? So this was covered already, but again, we have 7 members. Our bylaws, which you all prescriptively prescribe to us, allows for up to 15 members. 5 of which are going to term out here this coming November. And we are, as Kelly mentioned, backfilling them with 4. So beginning with the November session, we will have 6 members, and we are always looking for more. Next, please. And what has become usual and customary is that we are continuing to meet virtually, and we are all growing more adept at multiple screens and muting and unmuting and cameras on and off. Kelly? So we're here to talk about item 3.3, which is the annual report. These 3 items are what come from the bylaws. And tonight we're going to talk about the annual report. So over the recent lifetime of NVUSD, 4 bond measures have been passed totaling $570 million, with Measure H, at least in absolute dollars or nominal dollars, I should say, being the largest investment at $269 million. Kelly? So this is a graph. We've seen this before, but these are the bonds, the individual bond measures on a time scale, normalized for cost escalation. And we are a little biased, but honestly, from our perspective, Measure H is the most challenging bond measure, really for primarily 2 purposes. The mix of projects that it has funded. So it hasn't funded a simple major CapEx project like American Canyon Middle School. It has funded a variety of projects, including some growth projects, but also a whole lot of modernization projects, right? And it is more difficult to manage a concoctory of smaller projects than single large projects. Second reason would be the escalation of costs. So when Measure H was passed in 2016, it was primarily based on a facilities master plan that was grounded in 2014 dollars, and there was coming out of the gate, and there continues today, significant cost escalation, more significant cost escalation than occurred during the Great Recession when Measure M and Measure G were undertaken. And we should all strap on our seatbelts because the cost escalation for not only 2021, but also 2022 is projected to make the cost escalation of the previous years much more significant. Kelly? So this is a template of the updated or the annually updated implementation plan that you all approve, most recently approved in February of 21. And it includes not only the allocation of Measure H funds into these categories, so seismic, emergency repairs, modernization and new construction, site safety, as well as technology, and then a general overall program budget. It includes the allocation of Measure H for those funds, but it also includes allocation of other funds that are either augmenting Measure H or enabled through Measure H. So one thing that is critical and paramount to every school district is to leverage bond funds approved by voters to go get supplemental funding from the state through Proposition 39 or other propositions. And the district, as you are all aware, has done an excellent job in doing that. So there's matching funds from the state, there's developer fees, and then there's sale of property funds, the 3 columns on the right-hand side. Kelly? This is just a breakdown of the different categories of allocation of Measure H funds, or I should say the allocation of Measure H funds into the different categories. You know, the biggest category being the combination of new construction and renovation, what we call modernization and new construction, followed by seismic upgrades, retrofits, and replacement of damaged structures from the 2014 earthquake. Next, Kelly. So as of this reporting period, so 2020 through 2021, from a high level view, there's roughly $10 million remaining to be spent for Measure H, the majority of which lies in the technology type projects. And what that means as next time, or this year, next time, notwithstanding a no more detailed discussion on the technology projects, the committee will be looking for a new assignment. We will have spent down the majority of the original Measure H funds. Kelly? So the fundamental foundation of the annual report is the third-party audit. And we met with the third-party auditors at our March meeting and reviewed that. And both from a performance and compliance perspective, there were no audit findings by the third-party auditors. Again, the third-party audit is conducted in conjunction with the overall district audit, but there were no findings that came up in the third-party audit relative to Measure H. Kelly? So with our annual report, the committee members have an opportunity to make what we call specific comments. And this year for the 2020-21 annual report, we have 6 specific comments. And just to go through those briefly, so the district should be complimented for robust communication via the website about Measure H. That has, you know, there is no shortage of information available to Joe Public should Joe Public choose to go look for it. Number 2, there are, you know, school construction is commonly referred to design, bid, build type procurement methodologies. And, you know, just because the bid is low on bid day does not mean it represents best value for the district or any district for that matter when the project is ultimately finished. And there are some projects under Measure H that are procured under what we would call a best value scenario, such as leaseback. There are other options available, such as progressive design build. And we, consistent with our obligations to, you know, pursue items that are in the district's best economic interests and provide best value to the district, would recommend or encourage the board to pursue such best value procurement methods, depending on the type of project. Relative to number one, we think there's an opportunity for historical cost information to be housed in one location. So there's factual representation in one location of costs of CapEx projects completed under bond projects, including other metrics on, change orders. Those costs would include both the design side as well as the construction side. Excuse me. An ongoing issue and an ongoing challenge that bedevils any district is reconciling and updating programs and CapEx commitments and expenditures with ever shifting sands on demographics, as well as methodologies to evaluate and determine what type of projects the bond fund should be spent on. And that is, some science and some art, and ultimately good project management. This year there was discussion within the committee on tracking of costs that are common between Measure H funds and non-Measure H funds, i.e. the funds that are enabled from the expenditure of Measure H funds, such as the state matching funds, and allocating those common funds, management funds, consultancy funds, to Measure H and to non-Measure H funds, so that can be accounted for and communicated adequately to the public. Finally, we as a group, as a CBOC, have strived to be before you not only on the day of the meeting starting, but also much earlier in the year than in May. This is something that has bedeviled us as a group, primarily associated with the timing of the receipt of the third-party audit, which kicks off and is really the precedent event to kicking off the annual report. And we will continue to look for ways to move up the presentation of these reports earlier in the cycle. We have commented in previous annual reports that one method in addition to obtaining that report earlier would be to bifurcate the Measure H audit from the district's general business audit in an effort to get that audit issued earlier. All right, next, Kelly, please. Included in the annual report is an index of the cumulative listing of all of the specific comments that the committee has made over the past 5 reports. So in addition to the 6 comments that we made in the 2020 to 2021 annual report, we have 23 comments that were made previously, 10 of which are closed and 13 of which are active. And the committee and staff has implemented a new process where the revisiting of previous comments that remain open and from the committee's perspective will be revisited at each of the meetings as a standing agenda item. Kelly? So along the lines of hashtag finishing strong, there's roughly 70% of the committee has been on the committee for 6 years and are all terming out this November. But what that means is not only do we have a committed sense of volunteers that have a passion and interest in making Measure H successful, but also making future bond measures successful. And there are a variety of lessons learned that we've collected over our 6-year tenure. And, all of these are worthy of a more detailed discussion. And on behalf of the committee and speaking for my fellow members, I know we would be interested in sharing our comments and feedback on what the past 6-year journey has made and meant. And we don't need to go into the details here, but there is, this is a topic for further discussion. Next, Kelly. Okay, can everyone hear me still?
We can.
I can, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, in summary then, and this is the high point of the presentation, in keeping with our statutory obligations under the California Education Code for the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year. The Measure H CBOC finds that the NVUSD is in compliance with regards to the bond process and the expenditure of funds. Next, okay, so here's just information on how to get involved in Measure H. It's also available on the website. In addition to the 4 members, which will replace these 5 that are terming out, we are always looking for additional volunteers. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention and time, and would be I'm interested in taking any questions that anyone might have.
Mr. Brooks, can you hear me?
Yes.
We're having some technical difficulties in the boardroom with the camera system, but I want to let you know that we still heard your presentation. You cannot see us, but we've heard you and we have audio. So we're trying to fix our camera situation, but I'm going to go ahead and the board president here is going to speak, and we'll handle questions this way despite the fact that you cannot see us right now.
Mr. Brooks and committee, I want to thank you for providing continued oversight and accountability to ensure that bond measures are properly expended. And we appreciate your due diligence as well as your public assertion that we are complying with the statutes of the Constitution of the state of California. I do appreciate the looking back slide, which highlighted lessons learned as well as the transparency and quality of the work executed by the current leadership. Thank you very much for all that you do. I do want to ask Mr. Michaels if we have any public comment.
We do not. There is no public comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michaels. Do I have any questions from the board? No, seeing as there are none, I wanted to thank you very much for your time, and we happily got you out of here before midnight.
Yeah, and
Of course, Mr. Pearson.
Ms. Jurgensen, would you please advance the slide deck, the last one? So I would like to take a moment here just to give a special thank you to the 5 members who will be turning out in November.
Hold on, I think the public's having a hard time hearing you. Can you please move over here and relocate? Hold on 1 second. To the public that's on, we're having a little bit of a camera issue and rebooting the system here. Mr. Pearson is going to speak again.
As I was saying, President Jankowicz, I would like to take a minute here to publicly thank 5 members who will be terming out in November of 2022. They've been with the Measure H Bond Oversight Committee for several years, and I've had the distinct pleasure of working with them. They bring many years of experience to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. And their expertise is going to be really missed. And I feel like I've developed some friendships with some of these individuals too. So hopefully we can keep those going. So specifically, I'd like to thank our chair, Kevin Brooks, who just presented his presentation on the annual report, along with Richard Beck, Skip Kaiser, Scott Warren, and Jason Gramlich. So thank all 5 of you for your time and energy and your volunteerism on this very important committee. Thanks again.
Yes, and thank you so much, Mr. Pearson and Mr. Brooks. I want to personally thank you as the chair and to the entire committee. It's been extraordinary as the superintendent over the last 4 years to just watch you all just tighten up all the work around the bond oversight over the last 4 years. Seeing that progress has just been extraordinary. So thank you so much for your service. We are very, very grateful. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Mr. Brooks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. While we deal with some of our technical difficulties, we're going to take an early break. We will see you in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Testing. Okay.
Very much for your patience. We will now go back to presentation and discussion items under general services. And 1A is Introduction to California School Board Association, CSBA, Recommended Policy Updates, March 2022.
And so this is just the introduction. The policy committee, as the agenda item reflects, the policy committee just recently reviewed these.
Thank you very much. And introduction of board policy administrative regulation 5116.1 intra-district open enrollment.
This is also an introduction. It just reflects the open enrollment priorities and the removal of programs that are no longer offered in the district.
Correct. Thank you, Trustee Dooley. Instructional services, we have expanded learning opportunities program presentation. Oh, pardon me, Mr. Michaels, did I have any public comment on 1A or 1B?
There's no public comment for this item.
Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to, as I said, expanded learning opportunities program presentation.
Yes, good evening again, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, Dr. Massetti, and Student Representative Bitt. I'm excited for Director Manning to present on the Expanded Learning Opportunities program that will be offered in NVUSD this summer and next year. Director Manning, you want to take it away?
Sure, thank you very much. Mr. Michaels, if you want to bring up the presentation, please. Great, thank you very much. Good evening, President Jankowicz. Sorry, there was some feedback. Good evening, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, Dr. Massetti, and Student Board Member Bitt. I am happy to be here this evening to share information with you about the Expanded Learning Program and the support that this additional funding allows us to provide our NVUSD students. Next slide, please. The purpose of the ELOP funding is to provide after-school and non-school day enrichment programs for students in kindergarten through 6th grade. This funding is being provided in response to the clear need to provide additional educational opportunities for students following the pandemic-related school closures and the ongoing effects of the pandemic on student learning and attendance. There is a 3-year commitment by the state of California to provide this funding, with the potential for this being ongoing funding beyond the initial 3-year investment. We are currently in year 1 of receiving this additional funding. Next slide, please. So the legislation requires that districts offer 180 days of before or after school programming, with each of those days adding up to a total of 9 hours. That is inclusive of the regular school day. We are also provided funding to provide an additional 30 non-school days of expanded learning, with again, each of those days being 9-hour days. The program ratio in grades K6 is a student to adult ratio of 20:1, with TK requiring a 10:1 ratio beginning in the 2023-23 school year. The programs must include an educational component, and actually literacy is specifically called out as an area of focus. So students will be provided with tutoring and homework help as well, in addition to other enrichment activities. Next slide, please. So the ELP program are designed to support and target students in TK through 6th grade who qualify for free or reduced meal prices. So we must offer the programming to 100% of those students and then provide access to at least 50% of the qualifying students across the district. Next slide, please. So given this information and these requirements, NVUSD staff have been hard at work reaching out to families and recruiting for our upcoming summer programs. Parent Square messaging has gone out to families. There is a very informative summer programs webpage on our district website. a video introduction in both Spanish and English, starring our bilingual expanded learning programs manager, Audrey Chubbs, is in circulation. And our NVUSD parent liaisons and family resource center staff have been hugely helpful this year, as they were last year, in providing direct outreach and support to families. Principals and teachers are also engaging with families, and Audrey and some of the parent liaisons have provided on-site registration support in the afternoon and evening, as parents are picking up their students at sites with the highest numbers of qualifying students. Next slide, please. So while we are targeting the qualifying students, there will be opportunities for additional students to attend programs if there is capacity. This summer, we do anticipate having capacity within our partner programs to offer seats to additional students, and we'll know more about our after-school programs as the registration unfolds for those programs, which is happening this week. Next slide, please. So another program consideration is the location of our programs. So the programs must be located in communities at schools within NVUSD boundaries that serve the highest number of qualifying students. And we will ensure that those program locations are located strategically for ease of access for families. Programs may also be offered at community-based organizations off-site, and you will see that there are some program locations that we will be offering off-site at locations at the Boys and Girls Club clubhouses. Next slide, please. So our NVUSD programs this summer, the planning is obviously happening, and we will be providing 30 non-school days. And the way we will handle that in NVUSD is that we'll be offering 15 days of our full programming this summer after July 1, and then 5 days during the winter break and 10 days in June of 2023. We'll be offering after-school programming for all 180 days of the school year next year. Next slide, please. So our confirmed partners for our summer program are our own NVUSD childcare program, the Boys and Girls Club of Napa Valley, Adventure More, and NCOE. Our summer program dates will be from July 20th to July 29th, and we have capacity to serve about 2,800 students this summer. Next slide, please. So the core academic component of the programs will be addressed by having NVUSD teachers who will provide academic intervention support to students from July 11th to July 29th. Teachers are being hired to provide instruction in both English language arts and math 2 hours per day. So we currently have 42 teachers signed up to teach this summer, which is a good number. And we have teachers will be provided with curriculum and resources that will allow them to tie the summer learning to what the students are learning during the school year. Next slide, please. So this chart shows where programming will be located this summer. So NCOE will be serving students at Shear. Boys and Girls Club will be serving students at Browns Valley, McPherson, Napa Junction, Pueblo Vista, Willow, and then they will be serving Bel Air and Donaldson Way students at the clubhouses. And transportation will be provided for students who are attending the Bel Air students who are attending the clubhouse. EDMO will be offering a fee-based program at Canyon Oaks and West Park. And then the ELOP funded programs will be at Phillips and Snow. And then our own NVUSD childcare program will be at NVUSD this summer. Next slide, please. So our after-school planning planning for our after-school programming is also well underway. For next year, we will be serving TK through 5th grade students and 6th grade students at NVUSD middle schools. Our primary program partners for our after-school programs are Boys and Girls Club, NCUE, and again, our own NVUSD childcare program. We will also look forward to working with NVUSD teachers and outside organizations to provide additional enrichment opportunities for students attending the expanded learning program. So there is the core the partners who are providing programs, and then there'll be the academic component, but the funding also allows us to provide additional opportunities in music, fine arts, STEM, performing arts. We can even offer field trips to students. So really exciting opportunities for students in the after-school programs. Next slide, please. So this slide shows where we will be offering programming next year. So ELOP funded programming serving the elementary sites are listed in the middle schools that will have the ELOP funded programming are listed here for 6th grade. So we're able to provide some form of programming at all sites which definitely meets the requirement of offering programming at high need sites and at multiple sites across the district. So we're happy to be able to offer programming across all of our NVUSD sites. Next slide, please. So we certainly want to keep an eye on the quality of our programs. So this is considered a planning year in building the expanded learning programs, and more specific auditing requirements will be released in the future by CDE. So we look forward to those requirements. And we are committed to developing and growing a strong program that meets the needs of our community. To that end, we have Audrey Dawkins-Chubbs, who I mentioned earlier. Our program manager is in place, and we are currently hiring a teacher on special assignment to oversee and support the academic components of the expanded learning programs. We will conduct parent, student, and staff surveys at regular intervals throughout the year and then adjust programming based on that feedback. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is definitely an exciting time as we develop and nurture these new programs to support our students. This is taking the collaborative work of all NVUSD departments. And I really want to especially thank Mike Pearson and the maintenance and operations teams who will be adjusting and are already adjusting to the new reality of having students on campus for most of the year and for longer hours of the day. Their team rose to the occasion last summer when we had significant programming across elementary sites, and their willingness to work with us as we've moved through the planning and implementation phases has been much appreciated. So thank you, team. Next slide, please. And with that, I'll open up for any comments or questions.
Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. Trustee Chu?
So I just want to say that I started getting involved in schools and everything else because we lacked an after-school program at Canyon Oaks. I mean, sure, we had Boys and Girls Club, but there were a lot of other kids who were not served by that program. And so the PTO stepped up and said, let's start our own after-school program. We're doing it one day a week on Fridays. It was a robotics program, continued on as a Lego club that all the young kids can also attend. So it's been great. It's been very well received by the community. In fact, the teachers liked it so much, they're asking them to do in-school field trips with the company that we chose. So really looking forward to what this is going to bring in terms of enrichment for our children.
Thank you for your advocacy. Anybody else? Any other comment? Trustee Reiser?
I just wanted to say that I'm really gratified and excited to see the enrichment component of the after-school programming. These are such long days for some of our kiddos that are there until the end of the 9-hour day. And so I'm just really glad that we're going to be able to enrich with fine arts and STEM and field trips and music, and our kids are just only going to benefit from it. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds, and thanks for everyone's hard work.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, we have Universal Pre-Kindergarten Planning and Implementation Grant Program presentation.
Thank you, President Jankowicz. Another fabulous presentation by Director Manning is ahead. So Director Manning will present on the basically universal pre-kindergarten program. And this is also with additional funding from the state, and he'll share a little bit about that. So Director Manning.
Welcome back, Director Manning.
Thank you very much. I am Mr. Michaels, if you want to bring up this presentation, great, thank you. So another new aspect of my role this year, and something that I'm really excited about, is the opportunity to expand TK programs and offer additional TK to our NVUSD students. So I'm excited to share with you the work that's unfolding and some of the context for that work, the work that we're doing. So next slide, please. So I wanted to start out by providing sort of an overview of the universal pre-kindergarten world. So universal TK is only one part of UPK. So the state has focused its efforts and is providing funding to expand pre-K opportunities for students. So this graphic shows sort of all of the components that go into developing a universal pre-K, the universal pre-K landscape. So that includes universal transitional kindergarten. It includes the California State Preschool Program, Head Start, other community-based organizations, and private preschool. So all of those come together to form what is universal pre-kindergarten. Next slide, please. So the state of California, the CDE has developed a very aspirational and inspirational goal around pre-kindergarten of ensuring that every 4-year-old child, regardless of background, race, zip code, immigration status, or income level, has access to a quality learning experience the year before kindergarten. We know that this can make all of the difference for students, not only as they enter kindergarten, but as they progress through all of the grade levels and on into life. Next slide, please. So universal transitional kindergarten, again, is one part of the pre-kindergarten, universal pre-kindergarten system. So specifically what the universal transitional kindergarten piece means is that by the year 2025-26, we must serve all 4-year-old children whose parents are seeking enrollment in a TK program. And that's new, and I'll show you how that rolls up from our current year, which is that we're serving students who turn 5 between September 2nd and December 2nd, and where we'll end in the year 25-26. So families do have choice around the pre-kindergarten program selection. So we will be offering transitional kindergarten as an option for those students, but parents and families do still have choice in the program that they're selecting. Next slide, please. So this chart shows the roll up and where we are currently, and then where we'll end in 25-26. So again, starting now between September 2nd and December 2nd, next year, we'll offer TK to students in September who turn 5 between September 2nd and February 2nd. And we're currently enrolling those students now. And then by the year 25-26, it will be all students who are 4 years old. Next slide, please. So I wanted to share an overview of what the implications are of that for NVUSD based on our enrollment projections. So currently this year we have 7 classrooms. We're serving 162 students in 7 classrooms. Next year we could serve up to 317 students in 14 classrooms. We're not there yet, but these numbers are all based on all of the students who are eligible choosing to enroll in a TK program. So by the year 25-26, we could be up to offering universal transitional kindergarten to 810 students across 41 classrooms in NVUSD. So really what we're looking at is the potential for an entirely new grade level span, just like similar to kindergarten. So again, I just want to emphasize that this is only if all of the students' parents, if families chose to enroll them in an NVUSD TK program. Next slide, please. So our site distribution is we have our current sites, and then next year we will be adding Alta Heights and Shear. If we have sufficient enrollment, we'll also add in McPherson and NBLA, and we're getting very close to being able to add in McPherson. So we're excited about continuing enrollment and families that are continuing to enroll now. Next slide, please. I've been working closely with the current TK team because we already have a very strong and effective TK program in NVUSD. We're just expanding that program to serve additional students, and we'll be adapting the program to serve younger students. So this is the vision for TK in NVUSD that we collaboratively developed. The vision is that NVUSD Transitional Kindergarten Program will provide students with a developmentally appropriate, safe, nurturing, and engaging school experience that builds autonomy, self-esteem, creative problem solving, academic readiness, and the social emotional skills necessary for success in school and life. So we're really excited to bring that vision to life in the coming years. Next slide, please. So again, building on the success of our already existing TK program, we've thought about what the instructional considerations and components of the day will look like for those students. So the program is aligned to the California Preschool Learning Foundations. There are no transitional kindergarten standards currently, so we align with preschool standards. We want to create a play-based environment that offers students opportunity for enrichment and use play-based as a way for making meaning of academic content. A lot of child-centered activities, so some elements of teacher-directed, but lots of child-centered activities, especially as we begin to enroll students who are just turning 4 years old. There's not a lot of capacity for teacher-directed for long periods of time. So that's an area where we'll ensure we have a lot of those opportunities. And then also engaging in all the learning modalities, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, that's tactile, that's important for all students, but critical for our youngest learners. And then a lot of opportunities for oral language and vocabulary development. That builds the foundation for literacy. So the opportunity to bring students in early, help them develop rich language and vocabulary is very exciting. And then helping us to build a strong foundation for success in kinder and beyond. Next slide, please. So there are specific TK requirements that align with the ELOP grant. So as I mentioned already, there's a 10-to-1 student to staff ratio that will take effect in not next year, but the following year. And then we will have expanded learning opportunities for all TK families. So there will be a 9-hour day, including the instructional day, for students who are, again, receiving a free or reduced meal price. And then an extended day can be offered to other families on a sliding scale. They don't need to stay for the entire 9 hours, but that would be offered to them. So a sample schedule for that is that we will have our transitional kinder day next year will be 8:05 to 12:35. And then we would offer expanded learning from 12:35 to 6 o'clock, which is really beneficial to the families who are signing up for TK. They're very happy to have that additional place for their children to be while they are at work. Next slide, please. So certainly there are facility considerations, working with Mike Pearson and his team on looking at potential TK classrooms across the district at school sites. We are looking at available space, and then also ensuring that those classrooms have appropriate bathroom and playground access and playground space, age appropriate. Next slide, please. We are doing engaging in significant marketing and recruitment. We have a TK webpage. We have visual signage on the Vine buses, getting the word out about TK, advertisements in the Marketplace magazine, newspaper marketing, social media. I'm also really thankful for the increased collaboration with our early childhood partners in the community. First Five Napa County, for example, I've been working very closely with over the last few months. They have a lot of experience in working with students in this age group. So happy to have these expanding collaboration and partnerships. There's a five things to know about TK video that's in circulation, and we held on March 31st a parent information and input session to share information and gather input from prospective TK parents. Next slide, please. That brings me to the end of my presentation. So again, if there are any questions or comments, I would be happy to hear those.
Thank you very much, Director Manning. Before we start, Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not. There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. Trustee Water?
We do have, we did get a public comment by email before 8 a.m. this morning, and you all received it. It's from Erica Lubensky, and it is on this topic.
Thank you very much, Trustee Water.
And I wanted to thank Mr. Manning for his presentation and remind him that when he was principal at Phillips, I visited his TK classrooms, and it was really one of the most enjoyable experiences of my visits that year. The children were darling and they were learning a lot, but hey, they kept to the play-based environment. That we remember that we need to remember that they are, very young children, and this is where children learn to, the the buzzword collaborate, and then the other one, social emotional learning. This is where the social emotional learning really, really begins for children, you know, when they're playing with their friends in a happy environment. It's a great foundation. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Water. Trustee Gracia?
I just had a quick question. This is a facilities question, so probably for Mr. Pearson. Do we have 41 available classrooms for 25, 26?
We do have classrooms available by 24, 20, 25, 26. Is that what you said?
I think that was the time frame on it.
Yes. What we'll need to be working on is making sure that is ensuring that we have the appropriate facilities for the TK students by 25, 26.
Thank you. We are going to move on to action items, but Trustee Water, as I go through the action items, please feel free to interrupt me if we received any public comment on any agendized item. Okay, I can't always see you raising your hand, so please feel free to interrupt. Okay. Resolution number 22-35, authorizing continued use of remote teleconferencing provisions pursuant to AB 361 and Government Code Section 54953.
Move to approve, but would like to make a comment before we vote.
I will second.
First by Trustee Gracia, second by Trustee Dooley.
I just wanted to mention how relevant this provision is, considering Trustee Water is in quarantine presently, and we would not be able to have her available for this meeting if we did not have this resolution passed. So it seems quite pertinent that we continue to pass this.
Thank you, Trustee Gracia. Do we have any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Student Board Rep? I know. I know. Sorry. Vera, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Student Board Member Bit,
Aye.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Dooley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Resolution 22-26 to issue tax and revenue anticipation notes. Tran,
Move to approve.
first by
Second.
Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Another roll call vote, please, Vera?
Yes, Student Board Member Bit,
Aye.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Dooley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Resolution 22-36, reduction or discontinuance of particular kinds of services.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you, Vera. Another roll call vote, please.
Student Board Member Bit,
Aye.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Dooley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. Declaration of need for fully qualified educators, 2022-23.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Dooley. Do we have any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Student Board Rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Trustee Water. Under Instructional Services, MOU between Napa County Office of Education and Napa Valley Unified School District for career technical education.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Dooley. Do we have any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Student Board Rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion- Agreement between Napa County Office of Education and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels.
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much, Student Board Rep.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Agreement between Walsworth and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels.
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you, Student Board Rep.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Plan Approval.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any virtual public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you, Student Board Rep.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Supplementary instructional materials adoption for dual immersion programs.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
Student Board Rep.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Recycle of obsolete elementary science instructional materials.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. In-person public comment, Mr. Michaels.
We have no public comment for this item.
Student Board Rep.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Supplementary instructional materials adoption for elementary schools.
Move to approve, but before we vote, I'd like discussion.
Of course. First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
Yes, we do. First speaker is Katie Henry Meisner. Go ahead, please.
Hi there. My name is Katie Henry Meisner. I'm a mom of an NVUSD kindergartner and a preschooler in town. I identify as Native. I'm enrolled with the Chubanagog Man, a band of the Algonquin-speaking Nipmuc tribe, and I'm a longtime educator and teacher. My job is now in curriculum writing, and I write curriculum about discourse for a nonprofit called Discovering Justice in Boston. So I just wanted to share in support of Rainbow Kits that as a teacher, I just remember so vividly the ways that students found validation on the pages of the books that we read. We get to see firsthand in those classrooms how representation genuinely does matter. It matters to kids who are raised by a grandparent or a single parent or who has a gay uncle that they love so dearly. It really does matter. And it doesn't matter because these materials are here to influence or indoctrinate, but because these books and lessons, and I would argue every book that you or I have ever been touched by, all have the same important thing in common: the humanity at their cores. So these books and these lessons, they prevent bullying. They show us all kinds of people and families that exist, and they widen each child's bubble just enough to enhance their capacity for empathy and grow their schema. And it's a proven method to increase overall comprehension and literacy. I think it's a great support to the NVUSD strategic plan and as an enhancement to their commitments to promoting equity and diversity and creating systems across all departments and schools that intentionally ensure that everyone is respected and feels that they're part of an inclusive organization. I think that they're a fabulous companion to the toolkit, the social emotional learning curriculum that's being used at my daughter's school. She's at Pueblo Vista, and we love the toolkit, by the way. It's just so much of the it just would enhance so much of the high quality curriculum already being taught in the classrooms across our district. So without question, I just wanted to, full-fledged support this resource for NVUSD schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Mr. Michaels, do we have additional public comment?
We do not. There's no further public comment.
Thank you very much. Trustee Gracia?
Sure. So I've been very conflicted about these kits and have gone back and forth on my support for them. This has been difficult for me because on the one hand, I really like that the Rainbow Kits support treating people with respect and accepting people as you find them to be or come across them in your daily life. I believe that our country currently is experiencing a lack of civility that would certainly benefit from this training. On the other hand, the kits promote gender confusion by suggesting that there are multitudes of genders. Biologically speaking, this is false. There are not a multitude of genders. Even the law doesn't recognize a multitude of genders. I know a fair bit about what the law recognizes gender-wise because as part of my day job, I am helping a couple change the legal name and gender of their child. Through my assistance to them, I have learned that even the state of California only recognizes 3 gender options. While there are many people who do not identify with their gender or even with any gender at all, they are all still human beings and deserve to be respected and treated just like any other human being. While their gender expression is up to them, our respect for their gender expression doesn't extend so far as to nullify legal or biological truths. Part of my oath when I took this office was to uphold the laws of the state of California and to extend this curriculum is incompatible to the extent that this curriculum is incompatible with those laws, I cannot support it. According to the state of California, there are only 3 genders, male, female, and non-binary. And teaching that there are more than that is not something that I can support and still feel good about upholding my oath of office.
Thank you, Trustee Gracia.
If I, can I?
Yes, you may.
I
Trustee
do want to just point out something about the listing of the 3 genders recognized by California. One of them is the term non-binary, which means not 2. It reflects a multitude. Regardless of the official recognition of genders, this is not advocating the overturning of a law. It's not changing anything about the law. It's not challenging the law. It's simply recognizing the multitudes that are present in our district and in our lives. I respect Trustee Gracia's view and his certainly his right to express that and vote. In my view, these kits are about promoting and supporting people who have been marginalized and treated in abhorrent ways for generations. And any step that we can take to support people who have been so marginalized is, to me, an important step. I certainly am not suggesting that Trustee Gracia disagrees with that. He's expressed his view, and I just wanted to kind of clarify mine.
Thank you, Trustee Dooley.
Yeah, I think one important thing for folks to either, us here in the diocese and those listening is that the Rainbow Kits, it's more than just the discussion of gender. It's beyond that. It has to do with really all encompassing into one word, the diversity that exists in human beings. I don't know, the law aspect of it, and because if we go down that line, right, there were laws in this country that marginalized folks, and many of those were individuals who did not identify with a particular gender, and it's much more fluid, and so, or other laws that marginalize people for not, you can't speak a language or just for being Black. And so I think what these Rainbow Kits does, it just creates that safe space, and it gives the teachers who have come and spoken in public comment, not just today, but in the prior meeting, that it's giving the tools to provide that dialogue, because kids are coming to the classroom with their expressions, with their thoughts, with their thinking of it. And I think of comments of myself growing up, you know, you look such like a tomboy, you know, you have to be like a girl and you have to dress a certain way, and just sort of growing in a world where you have to be forced to go into particular boxes. It is so it's confusing. It's to me, it actually causes the opposite in having a kiddo be forced to go into particular boxes versus having the piece of it to navigate who they are, so they can embrace that with the love and care of professionals and the love of care that they find at their home, hopefully, if they have that. And so, you know, we come from a multitude of places and backgrounds and history. And I think what the Rainbow Kids is just absolutely creates that space to embrace that. And it opens up, actually, I think, the human being to be focused more on their best versus on the things that they're being pointed out they are not. And so I think when you can put that energy towards that versus what is society telling me to do or what are the laws telling me to do, then you have major issues that can occur to an individual, particularly mental health. You know, kiddos who are transgender and going through that process are 60% more likely to commit suicide. And that's a number that's personally scary to me. And someone who is just in her recent years, I've never had to come out because I'm married to a male partner, but being queer, it just also, like, why does that have to happen? Why can't I just be who I am without having the discussions? May there be a day where there is no Rainbow Kits. But it's just who we are as human beings. And I think that's important to be able to provide those tools to do that. And so, yeah, I can't look at it in the terms of law, because if I do it that way, then history takes me back to marginalized groups that laws have not worked in their favor because of complete white privilege in this space. And so that kind of needs to be brought out, right? And I think that's just takes time. It really takes time for all of us to heal and understand what that is and the complexity that it comes with that. But we're an institution that provides education. We're an institution that provides a space for our kids and our families. And I think this is exactly the kind of materials that that is needed. The Rainbow Kits exist because a small focus group came together of parents who were really concerned about their kids and their well-being too as parents, because they didn't want their kids to go through what they went through. So they want a better place for their kids and other kids. And so this answers to a lot of questions and a lot of concerns, and it provides an avenue for a space for parents to feel like there's something happening with this, right? And I think it aligns really well with what we have as board in terms of our policies of equity. And I look forward to the DEI work that we were working with a consultant prior to the pandemic, and now we get to have those hard conversations. And I think that's important to look at it on that end. And I can't wait for them to be rolled out, depending how the vote goes. But I can't wait to see it in action because it's going to definitely brighten up a lot of kiddos' faces in the classroom and a lot of parents and caregivers also. And definitely continues to be a very proud moment for me.
Thank you very much. We have a first and we have a second, and we are through public comment. So student board rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Interagency agreement for food services at Stonebridge School in school year 2022-2023.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There's no public comment for this item.
Thank you. Student board rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. School planning and construction, SBC number 19.20-20, request for move services for the American Canyon Middle School Student Commons Project.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels.
There's no public comment for this item.
Thank you. Student board rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SBC number 1.8-12, request for audit service with Chauvin and Associates.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There's no public comment for this item.
Student board rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, trustee Water. SBC number 1614-16, request to award contract for the Silverado Middle School Recycled Water Project to Atlas Peak Construction of Napa.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Dooley. Mr. Michaels.
There's no public comment for this item.
Student board rep,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We move on to the informational portion of the agenda under general services. Curriculum and Student Support Committee. Did you meet?
We did. The minutes are.
Or the minute, I just, on mine, they don't see an attachment, so I'm just going to ask because it's not reflected.
Yes.
Any other, do we have anything else attached?
Note the meeting minutes.
Okay.
Policy, yes.
And
sorry.
so policy minutes are attached. Thank you. Any comments on the enrollment report? I think we're consistent. Human Resources Quarterly Report on Williams Uniform Complaints for period ending April 29th, 2022.
Yay, no complaints.
Exactly. And Instructional Services, Stonebridge Charter Council Minutes, November 2021 through February 2022.
Just wanted to recognize the improved format of delivery to the board and comment that I appreciated that.
I thought so. Thank you, trustee Gracia. Additional suggestions and comments from board members or superintendent? And future agenda items? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, trustee Chu.
Oh, no, this is for future agenda items.
Yes.
So we are getting close to the end of the school year. And I've been hearing a lot about where students are getting into. I attended the parent learning series about A to G requirements. And we know our student board rep will be going to Cal. Yay, go Bears. So I was just thinking, wouldn't it be nice to know where our students got accepted? Where are they going? And are they prepared to go off to a career if they're not going to college? So is there any way to enumerate that for us? Because I mean, I think the hallmark of college ready is acceptance to a university. I think that's one of the hallmarks, right? I mean, there are other hallmarks, but I haven't seen that enumerated for our school district. I know I've heard it here and there during graduation or at the parent learning series. We briefly saw what was going to happen or where vintage students got accepted, which is wonderful. I love the diversity of colleges that they're all going to, they're considering at that time. I guess they all know by now where they're going because it's past the deadline. So is there any way for us to enumerate that? And maybe if we have any exit interviews for our seniors to know what their plans are afterwards, even if they don't go to college, which is just as important because we're talking about career readiness.
Yeah, so so a couple of things. In terms of our counseling teams at the high schools do gather some of that information. So it is possible. I think I had shared in a report or two ago that we are collecting the college attainment information. And right now we're, from a communications perspective, we're highlighting stories, but we will be doing like a splash around a kind of more formal report of college attainment. And that our communications team is working on that for the end of this year. Specifically in terms of data gathering that we've presented to the board, that would be kind of that would elevate it to a new formal structure that we haven't had in place. So I would hesitate to commit to be able to accomplish that for the class of 2022. But know that the college attainment details, we do have a structure in place. It was a request of Trustee Water multiple times. And so our communications team is working on it for more of a communications, not necessarily data, tracking perspective, which would be different. So that's something I can look into and have a discussion with Assistant Superintendent Pat Andrew Jennings and Director Monica Reddy about formulating some sort of formal data gathering through our comprehensive high schools counseling departments and putting together some sort of end of year report for next year.
Okay, great. Yes. So I have another future agenda item request, and I'm not sure if it might be accommodated by one that's already in the pipeline about our instructional programs, but we did at the curriculum committee, board advisory committee, have a presentation about college and career readiness. And so there was a lot of great information in that presentation, but it also raised for me some additional questions. So I don't know if it would be more appropriate as a presentation request or a study session, but I would just really like to have a better sense of, across our comprehensive high schools and New Tech High School, what are we offering for college and career readiness? I know that we don't have consistency across our sites with our CTE offerings. That's through the county. We approved that tonight. But I'm interested in looking at, are there some of those offerings that could be standardized across the sites? I understand on the CTE side of it, some of them are facilities bound. We can't have a farm and ag program at every high school. That's not reasonable. But some of the CTE offerings are not so tied to an expensive facility. We have some offerings at one or two high schools, but not all of them. And then the other aspect of the college and career readiness that I would like more of time to dive into is the two sides of the coin of the AP advanced placement offerings, which are also not entirely uniform across our high schools. And I am, as a parent of two kids that are, and I appreciate student board member Bitt's comment at the start of our meeting about the AP test season and how stressful that is. I'm also, for various other reasons, not convinced that it is the best way for us to prepare our kids for college. And so I'd like to look at the AP versus the dual enrollment. I know there are limitations on resources and staffing, but I would be really interested in a study session looking at how can we look at the direction that we're taking and really affirm that we're doing what is best preparing our students for college and career.
I have a meeting, I believe later in the month, with Director Reddy and Assistant Superintendent Andrew Jennings on this topic, if you would like to join me.
I would love that. Thank you.
I think we can take care of that and you can report it. Okay, thank you.
So are we advancing a formal request for a study session regarding career college readiness
Why don't we
focused on?
take this first step first and see if it,
Okay,
and then we can determine next steps.
okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, so that would be something that if you provide me direction to advance that as a study session, that would be something that we would not accomplish before the end of the year, but potentially in the fall. So let me know. Follow up on that. Okay.
Thank you very much. And lastly, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
First by Trustee Dooley, second by Trustee Gracia. All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening.